Tattoo etiquette is about formulating a beautiful experience between client and artist so that an expectation of our roles are set out so that the outcome is beautiful tattoo work. So, what we're going to dive into is laying out some, I want to say, rules of what those expectations may be so that both are able to come together and create artwork without any hiccups that might impede on the actual process of creating art that is beautiful and lasts a lifetime. So for the first one, let's discuss, say, the consultation aspect. When you are meeting, it's good to have done your homework. Know what you want, know what your expectations are in the design, in the location, be able to communicate what that style is, so on and so forth, and have references ready to go so that when you do meet with an artist that is taking time out of their day, they're able to have a conversation with you, visually see what you're presenting to them in the form of references, get a sense of the story if there is one behind the design, and start that creation process with you. Some artists, they tend to create on their own and they thrive best when they have that creative freedom and liberty to do so. And others, myself, I can speak for, I enjoy the co-creation process where that little bit of extra time goes into formulating the design so that it fits you, suits you, your body movement, so on and so forth. I want it to fit like a glove. I want it to feel like it was always meant to be there. And there's different elements towards how we incorporate our styles so that your style is also pulled through and is resonating. So in that creation process, that session, it's really important. So do your due diligence. Show up on time. Show up prepared and make it distraction free. Make sure that there's a means where there isn't a time limit or restraint if you're actually able to sit down and create that art together. That's a really beautiful opportunity for you to also speak up and have a voice in the creation process of it. And that would be the other part of it is don't be afraid to speak. You're allowed to have input and say, this is something that's going to be on your body for a lifetime. So as an artist, it is nice to have that guidance to know whether or not something is resonating or vibing. And if you've done your homework enough, it's like faster for us to get that process going where, oh, here's the art. And it's just, you're lit up, you're excited, you're happy, you love what's created. It's you when it's done this way. Whereas when there's a guessing game involved in trying to read someone, there's a wobble or a wave, and that doesn't lead to the actual process of designing something that you're going to love for the rest of your life, for your lifetime. And the goal is for you to love your art for the remainder of your coexistence. So, with that said, the next leads into some clients have children. Some clients have little ones that are really, really young, and others that are older, and they say they'll just sit on their tablet and play. But at the same time, what this does is it creates a distraction. And in most studios, this is frowned upon. And the reason why I prefer that you keep your children out of the studio is one, especially when they're young, is they have a thing with garbage cans. And in here, in the studio space where we're working with bodily fluids, that's the last place you want your 2-year-old digging in and give everybody a heart attack. So make arrangements so that you're distraction free and your kids have childcare. All those arrangements are made so that, again, this is a professional thing that you're doing. This is somebody's work, this is somebody's job, and to ask otherwise is kind of crossing a line and a boundary. You don't expect other people to show up to your work with their kids and say it's just fine, just let them hang out in the lobby. Same concept. So moving forward, it all comes down to having your ducks in a row so that A, it's distraction free, B, you have open communication, you have a clear vision, there's a relationship bonded with the artist where you feel safe and comfortable. You're reading them as much as they're reading you, and you're getting to know each other to know whether or not you can actually co-create something beautiful. Blind faith and trust, sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. This is you using your own discernment to go about this creation process. If you met a really, really fabulous artist, but you want to sit down for 8 hours in really weird energy where you're super uncomfortable and afraid to breathe, that kind of takes away from the experience as well. Remember, this is an experience for everybody. In many ways, when you're an artist and you're putting your art out there and it's walking around, you don't want to say, oh yeah, the art was beautiful, but did not vibe with that person. It's like an energetic, bonding that nobody wants to have. So moving forward, when we go about this, it's the prep work is big. And that goes into when you're actually going to get tattooed, your actual tattoo appointment itself. So lots of clients ask about numbing agents and things like that to make it as, I want to say, enjoyable as possible, take some of the sting out of the experience, so to speak. And it's fine, it's dandy. If you want to supply it, sure, do your due diligence, order it ahead of time and bring it with you unless your artist is providing it. On that other note, again, it's you want to be well rested, hydrated. You want to have food in your system before the appointment comes. You want to get that numbing in place. You want to get that stenciling process set up, ready to go so that everything is comfortable. But then what? Are you going to be cold? Do you need a blanket? Things like that. There's other comforts that you want to bring with you. Food, hydration, so on and so forth, little pick-me-ups, possibly a friend, or having headphones and music or an audiobook or something to listen to, depending on how long your session is or how much of a distraction that you need. Some artists will welcome a friend to communicate with and stuff, and others will say absolutely not. And that's because of the distraction process again, which can lead to people talking and being expressive and moving, and suddenly you end up with like a wiggle that wasn't intended to be in the design. These things happen. So these are all different things to communicate with your artist. On that other side note, again with the prep, you definitely want to be alcohol and drug free at least minimum 2 days before leading up to the appointment, because in the event that you went out and had one too many, it does affect the actual tattooing process. We can see different changes in the skin. Some people are what we call bleeders, and on that end, girls, it is what it is. Mitral, it too thins the blood and makes it a little bit of a pain in the butt to try to get the work done. So try to avoid any sort of like muscle relaxants and things like that. Pain, Tylenol is always good. It will help. The other side to it is being also aware of what sort of allergies you may have. Most artists will use nitrile gloves, but again, if you have sensitivities that you're aware of, communicate it with your artist, because you don't know from one artist to the next if it might be something hidden inside something that's being used throughout the procedure, or it could be something as simple as scents or something. So the artist will go their way to not wear a certain perfume or something to that nature. So with that expressed and communicated with health and things, definitely bring that into the artist's awareness and make sure if you do have a condition that you communicate with your doctor. There's a doctor's note, a sign off, that sort of thing, where everyone can move forward in confidence and in full awareness and full disclosure. And when you are being tattooed, it is ideal to bring appropriate clothing to suit the area that you are being tattooed. Don't wear your Sunday's best, so to speak. You want to wear something that you don't mind if there's going to be an ink stain on it to forever leave an impression that, yes, I remember when I got tortured that day, so to speak. And when it comes to aftercare, always follow your artist's instructions. They know how their work heals best. Everyone and their dog knows how to heal a tattoo, but guess what? So does your body. It's like a natural process. It's a wound. Your body knows how to heal itself. The idea is to not get into the way of it. Bandaging, aftercare, different processes are out there, and your artist is going to direct you the way that they know best. That's going to create a happy healing for you, so your artwork lives and thrives for many years to come. And in that aftercare process, a lot of this is on your end as the client, because you could get the most fabulous tattoo from the greatest artist out there. And if you don't look after it, like if you go out in the sun and you get sunburnt or something, you can list all the things. That's not on them. That's on you. And to rejuvenate it, revitalize it, fix it, whatever, that's coming out of your pocket, because this is your part of your end of the bargain, so to speak. That's an expectation on your end that the artist has absolutely no control over. So do your proper due diligence. And if there is anything else to bring to your attention in the world of etiquette, it would be to, in the studio, avoid touching the garbage can. That's like the no touchy zone, especially the lid. If you need to throw something out, use the pedal or ask your artist, because it's like a bloodborne pathogen bomb that wants to go off, and nobody wants to include everyone else's goodies inside your goodies, so to speak. And on that end, it's the same as, it's like number one rule, don't touch your tattoo. Just don't. Especially when you go to the washroom. You're going to be like in there doing your thing, and then, touching the same taps and things as everyone else before you, and, no control over what happens in there. And if you touch your tattoo, well, other than introducing possibly bacteria, again, could be someone else's goodies. So keep that in mind. And if you have other questions or concerns, by all means, use your proper etiquette and ask. Worst case scenario, you'll get an answer. And if you don't feel like it's a satisfactory answer, there are usually other artists available in the studio to help answer it for you, or you feel free to question and do your own research too. At the end of the day, when the artist is showing up, they've done all their work to make sure all those things are in line so that they can show up and do their best work for you. And your due diligence is to, reciprocate and do the same for them. And that's what creates beautiful artwork throughout the process, open communication where everyone feels good and is able to move forward and create something beautiful. And that's your tattoo.